These craven losers, that person that when Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck, instinctually got up and turned and celebrated, they have to be defeated. We can't change their minds. We can't invite them to change our minds. We can't negotiate with them. We can't invite them for a political compromise. If your gut reaction to seeing someone take a bullet in the neck and their face explode and their young children run up to them because they were afraid of the noise, if your reaction was to grin and celebrate, you must be defeated. You must be destroyed.
When you take away Charlie Kirk, you deserve Nick Fuentes.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
Welcome to the MC Too Tall Show. Sorry I'm starting a little late, but here I am, your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host, MC Too Tall. Not to mention your New York City goth scene ambassador. Now, let's start off by saying that I'm drinking a cup of coffee here from Wild Bagels. And you could get a fine cup of coffee like this from Wild Bagels yourself by strolling into 1901 Stillwell Avenue. Or you could give them a call at 718-333-WILD. They have every variety of bagel you could think of, baked on premises with any type of topping or filling you'd like, plus this fine coffee. Once again, the address is 1901 Stillwell Avenue, and the phone number is 718-333-WILD. That's 718-333-WILD. And remember, Wild Bagels. Those bagels sure are wild. Let me get another sip of this before I put it down. Also, mark October 14th on your calendar. I believe that's on a Sunday, if I recollect correct. And I'll be at SC Yoa Club, 850 62nd Street in beautiful Brooklyn, New York. I'll be performing a few of my old classic songs before a live band. So remember that date and address. October 14th, 850 62nd Street in beautiful Brooklyn, New York. Now we could get into the situation here, which I don't even know why people would classify it as a situation, but nonetheless, here we are. I've been asked to talk about Nick Fuentes by my many fans and followers and viewers. And I was going to do this video a while back and then conclude, leave that young man alone, let him cook. And like every group of individuals, we are nonetheless individuals. And among us, we could agree to disagree on certain issues, and so on and so forth. I guess people were expecting me to say, well, I'm right-leaning or I'm conservative, but Nick Fuentes has gone too far. He says things that to me are an eye-opener, but I wouldn't consider it radical or extreme when I hear with my own ears and see with my own eyes what he's talking about. He just words it in a certain type of way that makes it a bit of an eye-opener. And that serves the purpose of, and I believe he's intelligent enough to know this, but even if he didn't, it still nonetheless serves the purpose of pulling in views. So, whether it's by accident or on purpose, he's definitely doing the right thing. And I believe he's an intelligent person, and he knows what he's saying. And a lot of times he's on the mark. Now, there might be things he might say a month ago that I could say, well, I could agree to disagree with him, but at this juncture, very important when people say something that you think is even further in the direction you're going, to use the words at this juncture, or at this present time. Because when you see it unfurl, you might take note that the person is right. And I've experienced that watching some old Nick Fuentes clips and then looking at the here and now. So that's why I still say, leave that young man alone, let him cook. Now, what did I mean in the beginning of the video where I show what Nick Fuentes says about Charlie Kirk? And then I cut in and say, when you take away Charlie Kirk, you deserve Nick Fuentes. Because people thought Charlie Kirk was oh so extreme when he laid out his arguments, articulated his stance in a fact-based manner, mildly and calmly at most times. He was the nice guy that persuaded people, brought people together, found a common ground, and built off of that. And I said that in my last video. The blueprint to turning people around, if you choose to go out in person and talk to people and do that, is to find common ground and build on that. You and the person that may think they're a Democrat may not be a Democrat like they think they are, because they still have some degree of moral compass. And you find on what level they have a moral compass, and you build on that, and I can bet dollars to donuts there's some Democrat policy that is against what their moral compass is. Now, if they still want to argue and stuff, then I would suggest just writing them off and moving on to the next person. Then they were lost cause. Then it's up to God himself to come down from the heavens and save the wretched soul of that putrid individual. Now, Nick Fuentes was referring to the guy that got up and cheered. I believe that may have came from a place of naivety. I believe that may have been a person that was not happy that Charlie Kirk was dead, but hopeful that Charlie Kirk was alive. But I don't know. I don't live inside the guy's head. He was chanting USA, USA, which is the thing they were chanting when Donald Trump got up from a would-be assassin's bullet and pumped his fist. So maybe this person was very naive and hopeful, and seeing it from an angle and distance where he had no idea that that shot was instantly fatal. I wouldn't recommend watching the video. It's pretty graphic and disturbing, especially if Charlie Kirk resonated with you, because it's pretty gruesome. But when I had stumbled across it, I wasn't looking for it. When I had stumbled across it, I knew right there and then it was instant. It was like a split second after impact, he was gone. And that's it's a very disturbing video. As I said, he was hit in the neck, close to the throat. It was symbolic. It was like the Ashley Babbitt hit, only instead of being grazed, it was more direct. And I'm figuring, if this killed Ashley Babbitt, this definitely had to have killed Charlie Kirk. And I'm not saying that to say, oh, I was the first to predict that he's not really alive when they're still saying he's. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying this to do that. At times, people who are in the know, in the immediate area, they may know the person's dead and have to, in order to ease up on the conscious mind of the people who know and love him, have to say, we're working towards saving him. We're working towards saving him. We're working towards saving his life. And they may know right there and then. They don't have to communicate it amongst each other by word, but they look at the person, the deceased that they have to say is temporarily still alive, look at each other and like, okay, you know what to do. And, you know, they might try CPR on a person. CPR doesn't work when you have a fatal wound to the neck. I'm sorry to bring that reality to you. You see somebody doing CPR on somebody that has a big bullet wound. They're trying to comfort the people standing around the body that may know and love that person, that believe there's hope that that person may still be alive. You do have to show that there's an effort to try to save the person. And in a world created by God, you can't rule out divine intervention. You hear stories in modern times of people who flatline and then the heartbeat scale starts jumping at normal rate again. So, anything is possible with faith in the good Lord above. I truly believe that, and this is why I respect God. This is why certain choice words of anger that I may have for the asshole that cuts me off on the road are not words I would ever call God. Okay? I don't believe God to be some fraud created by man to rifle pockets and start wars. And it would be very dangerous to have people in government that believe that, even though there are people in government right now as we speak that believe that. Minnesota had a governor that believed that. And no, I'm not talking about Tim Walz. I'm talking about somebody that had some choice words to say about the Democrats, whose name is Jesse Ventura. I liked him as a wrestler. I liked him as an announcer. I respect what he did for the state of Minnesota in his time as governor, and the fact that he made more money doing the job than he had to spend getting the job, which is very rare for any public office. But, his premise that all wars start with religion and not greed under the guise of religion, that's where I disagree with Jesse Ventura. And we also lost him to the woke mob when he endorsed Kamala Harris. And he probably did that because her running mate was the sitting governor of Minnesota, who is actually somebody from Kansas, I believe, or Nebraska. So he may have been a Nebraskan transplant. That's what he was. So Tim Walz is not a Minnesotan, he's a Nebraskan transplant. But he does have nice things to say about people associated with the state of Minnesota. Like Bob Backlund, and he never said anything bad about Mike Lindell, even though Mike Lindell is a huge Trump supporter and Jesse Ventura is not. But anyway, getting back to Nick Fuentes, I don't see the problem. If you silence Nick Fuentes, who are you going to silence next? Wasn't silencing Charlie Kirk enough for you on the left? And as I said, if you're going to silence somebody like Charlie Kirk, then you deserve somebody like Nick Fuentes to emerge. I'll give a, for instance, of somebody I don't agree with and don't particularly like and don't believe is genuine. Alex Jones. I don't agree with his broadcast style. Here it is, 2025, and we're still waiting for these missiles that Putin was supposed to send here on New Year's Eve, 1999, going into New Year's Day, 2000. And he looks like a demon, he said, and which may be prophetic, but it wasn't factual then. He wasn't exactly a handsome devil, but he didn't look demonic back then. He does now, but not back then. And he had people going in a panic, getting into their cars, hitting the highway, getting into accidents, trying to escape nuclear warheads that, again, here it is, 2025, 25 years later, and they never came. And in spite of that, I still believe Alex Jones should have a platform. And I believe it was wrong for the Dorsey-run Twitter to cancel him from Twitter. I also believe that he has some good guests on there. He had Al Jorgensen on there once. When he did the Obama deception video, he had KRS-One and Professor Griff on there. And KRS-One said something about Barack Obama. He says they put a blackface on the New World Order and now we're all happy. KRS ain't buying it. That's from the words of KRS-One. So don't tell me about how Barack Obama's for black people. There are more white people. There are white people that are more for black people than Barack Obama. And more white conservative men have helped black people than black liberal women. And right behind white conservative men are black conservative men that have helped black people, followed by black conservative women. So, dead last helping the black community are white liberal women. But that's what I believe. So, liberalism does not help minority communities at all. Now, are there things I disagree with Nick Fuentes on? Yeah, to a degree, but I'm not going to say, oh, he's going too far. Nick Fuentes is too extreme. The man has a platform, and you can either watch him or not watch him. I have yet to find anything to completely come down on Nick Fuentes about or condemn Nick Fuentes about. And I know a lot of you are waiting for me to do that, to say, oh, I'm right-leaning, but Nick Fuentes is taking it too far. I'm not giving you that. I'm not handing you that candy bar. No dice, pal. I disagree at this juncture. Remember I said I gotta say that? At this juncture, I may disagree with his stance that people of all different races cannot live together. Or he specifically says white people and black people cannot live together. Now, I may disagree with that at this juncture, because I've lived in a housing project and I didn't get accosted until I wasn't living in a housing project. And I had nice neighbors that were not destructive, that took their trash to the incinerator chute, didn't graffiti on the walls. The neighbors, both black and Hispanic, had a father, a mother, and kids about my age. And I don't know about the rest of the building because I didn't venture out like a hood rat, but our floor in our housing project building was always clean. There was always either a fresh lemon smell or a fresh pine smell. And although there was a maintenance crew that used to mop the hallway floors, a lot of the individual neighbors would take it upon themselves to mop the floor in front of their apartment. If a door knocker was broken, a lot of times instead of calling the maintenance crew and waiting a year for them to replace a missing screw, we'd go to the hardware store, buy a screw, pull out a screwdriver and screw it in themselves. Like they took pride in where they lived and didn't trash it. So, being somebody who lived that experience, that is why I disagree with him on the stance that black people and white people cannot live together. But then you see some footage, and it makes you wonder, is that always the case? Or was that the case then, but not now? There's so many different layers, so many different things. That's why I say, at this juncture, agree to disagree at this juncture. But as far as condemning him for that, hell no. You want me to, but I won't. And I conclude with this. When you take away Charlie Kirk, you deserve Nick Fuentes. People tried taking out Donald Trump. When you take out Donald Trump, you deserve Nancy Mace. You deserve Marjorie Taylor Greene. You deserve Lauren Boebert. Okay? You deserve people like that if you take out Donald Trump. And yes, good luck going to jail. Have fun going to jail for saying there's no such thing as Jewish space lasers. Because you couldn't swing the pendulum even where it needed to be. So, if you don't accept the basic, simple morality, then you deserve the strictness that comes from the extreme. And with that said, to my loyal listeners, followers, viewers, my fellow John Crancians, I say respect God, watch out for the Illuminati, like, follow, share, comment, subscribe, stay strong, keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. Yaha.